Wouldn't it be great if we got as many chances as we needed until we got it right? Wouldn't it be great if we got as many lifetimes as we needed until we got it right? These are worldview statements. And we've been talking about worldviews. And the reason is, everyone has a worldview. And almost everything that we do and everything that we say arises from our worldview. Our music, movies, everything that we believe. It's the way we answer the ultimate questions of origins, meaning, morality, and destiny. We talked about naturalism as a worldview. We called it the world as we see it. Naturalism says there's no God, heaven, or hell, or anything else that's not physical. You don't have a soul that continues on after you die in the naturalistic worldview. The next worldview we're going to discuss is very similar to naturalism, except it provides a spiritual dimension. It's called Transcendentalism. We also call it the world as we want it. C.S. Lewis describes this worldview as the natural bent of the human mind. Why? Because traditional religion, particularly of a Christian variety, teaches that humanity is sinful. Transcendentalism teaches the exact opposite, that humanity is divine. Actually, most forms of Transcendentalism teach that every person eventually makes it back to an existence of happiness and bliss. Now, it may take 20, 50, or 1,000, or even an infinite number of lifetimes, but sooner or later, everybody gets it right. To describe this worldview in the short time we have is difficult, but I'll try my best to give you the major points so that you can begin to understand and discern Transcendentalism. Let's look back at our square again. If this square represents everything that exists, of course it contains the natural world. Transcendentalism teaches that the natural world is divine. That is, that everything that exists is God. There's really nothing that exists that is not part or parcel of God. It's important to note that God isn't seen as a personal being in Transcendentalism. In fact, God is an impersonal energy, force, power, or chi. This idea of God leaves little room for developing a relationship with Him. It's difficult to carry on a conversation with energy. This energy or life force comprises what is ultimately real in the universe of Transcendentalism. Everything that we see and experience comes from this universal energy. It flows all around us and is within us. It's the animating force of everything in the universe. We only need to look within to connect with ultimate reality. So, what does this mean for you personally? Well, it means that you are essentially spiritual. The spiritual you now inhabits the body that most people recognize as you. Who knows how many different bodies you've had over the past centuries, or how many you will have in the future. Being confined to a physical body is not a good thing in Transcendentalism. The goal in most transcendental religions is to break out of this cycle of birth and rebirth, which is sometimes called reincarnation, and go back into that cosmic oneness. Different transcendental religions teach different ways of achieving this salvation. These religions, by the way, are embraced by billions of people. So understanding them is important if we want to have a worldview that truly encompasses the world. The most common and well-known of the transcendental religions is Hinduism. Hinduism is one of the oldest religions in the world. And actually, Hinduism is really a family of religions that arose in India thousands of years ago. Hinduism calls the ultimate reality and force in the universe Brahman. Brahman is everything. Hinduism has no founder nor specific beginning, but Buddhism, which grew out of Hinduism, had its beginning about 500 years before Christ. The ultimate goal in Buddhism is finding nirvana. The word nirvana is actually a negative term which means blowing out, extinguishing. The concept involves blowing out like a candle all of your personal desires so that you ultimately extinguish your own individual identity and become one with all things. Other Eastern religions that fall under the worldview of Transcendentalism are Confucianism in China and Shintoism in Japan. Now this, of course, in no way exhausts the literally thousands of religions that in one way or another arise from a transcendental worldview. But I hope you can see the essential features of each of these. Each of these religions answers some of the nagging questions that naturalism has to leave open. Questions regarding meaning and purpose in life, the nature of morality, and our desire for a positive destiny. Here's how Transcendentalism answers the ultimate questions. As far as origins is concerned, Transcendentalism teaches that the universe has always existed. The physical universe has not always been around, but it exists only through a mysterious, unknown process. Meaning in life is found in recognizing our own divinity and acknowledging the divinity of all things that exist. Morality is different in each of the religions, but mostly they point to behaviors and attitudes of peace and oneness. The final ultimate question is destiny for the individual. And for most transcendental religions, this includes numerous incarnations until the cycle of birth and rebirth is broken through one of the many paths of enlightenment. Many of you may know people who follow one of these Eastern religions now. The number of adherents to Hinduism and Buddhism particularly has risen in the United States dramatically. But what catches your attention even more is not the Hindus and the Buddhists among us, but the Americans who have adapted the transcendental worldview and Eastern religions into American forms. You'll be surprised at who some of these people are and what they believe. Everything from horoscopes and astrology to numerology and tarot cards. The transcendental worldview is very much a part of our society. In fact, Hollywood stars have been jumping on the transcendental bandwagon in record numbers. Scientology, Kabbalah, Buddhism, and Wicca all claim celebrities as followers. It's easy to see why these approaches to life are popular. We get all the benefits of a religious feeling without any of the responsibility. No wonder C.S. Lewis called it the natural bent of the human mind. Both naturalism and transcendentalism tell us to look inside for answers. But maybe the answers are found in looking up.